Here's something that you might find useful to understand why you're not making progress towards your goals and objectives all the time. I've wrote a new article on the blog. You can find it under my website, adamarmed.co.uk, and the title of the blog is Riding the Wave, Understanding the Three States of Progress and How to Stay on Track. So it came out of a conversation on someone who's just started another health program, another weight loss program. And what I observed is that when they're in a really good state, they're motivated and they're driven right at the beginning of the program, they make really good progress. They get some wins in, they start losing weight. That area, that time is very rarely an issue. People are driven, they're motivated, they start taking action. They start fulfilling their potential. But sooner or later, what happens is they start becoming a little bit indifferent, or they start coasting, and even worse, they might become demotivated, tired, or unfocused, or something else takes over, a different priority, an emergency comes up, or something comes up and they lose sight of the thing that they were working on. So there's no problem when someone's in a motivated and driven state. They'll do the things that they need to do, take action, make progress, everything's aligned, focused, energy, everything's going well. That's the up cycle. The challenge occurs when they get onto the down cycle, they start coasting, they lose momentum, or they go into a dip and they become demotivated or unfocused. The thing with peaks, motivation and drives, they are peaks. Very rarely will you stay in that situation all the time. You want to maximize that opportunity. You want to maximize that opportunity to get the most growth. But you also have to understand sooner or later that you will be on the down cycle. And when you're on the down cycle is when it starts getting dangerous. You start losing connection with your why. You forget what lit you up. You forget what's possible. You stop taking risks. And you stop reaching out for help. That's the most dangerous thing. You might look fine from the outside because you've made progress, but you start resting. And when you start resting, there's a risk that you then start becoming demotivated. Something else takes priority. And then all that hard work that you've put in, especially when you're on a health program, little things can start coming back in that start undoing all that effort that you've put in. You start abandoning the routines, you start ghosting on support systems. This is a really big issue. People go quiet, they go off radar when things aren't going well, and they try and get out of it themselves. It's such a shame when that happens, because the thing that they need the most, that community, that support, that connection, they start avoiding because they don't want to show up when they're not in a good place. And I never fully understand that, when all it might take is a little bit of a conversation or a WhatsApp message or a text message saying, I've lost focus with the reason why I'm doing it and I can't be bothered right now. And sometimes even a 5-10 minute conversation gets someone back on track. So what's the answer? It's not about staying motivated 100% all the time. I'm very rarely motivated all the time. The difference is that I put structure, systems, routine in place, allowing for when I'm not going to be motivated. I call this safety nets. You want to normalize the down part of the cycle. It's part of being human. It's going to happen. Have a look at the seasons. Right now in the UK, we're in a really good summer feeling, hot weather, but sooner or later it's going to turn. It's going to start getting cold, windy, wet. That's the down cycle. The same thing happens with motivation. We're going to hit the down cycle. You don't want to be dressed for summer when it's stormy outside. And the same thing when you're working on your health goals, you're working on business, you're working on projects. You're going to have to understand that storms are going to come sooner or later. And there's a saying that the weather's never the problem. It's whether you're prepared for the weather. When you know it's going to be wet and windy outside, you wrap up better. And the same thing when you're working on your goals, you do the same things. You put your support systems in place. Coaches, mentors are your clothing system for bad weather. They are what you put on when it starts getting hard. So you want to define your non-negotiables. Look, the real work is staying in the game. It's not linear. Success, progress is a matter of doing things when it gets hard. That's what makes the difference. So most of you, you know what you're capable of when you're performing at your best, when everything's going well. That's not where the challenge is. The real opportunity is mastering how to come back to that place over and over again without starting from zero, making sure that you don't lose momentum, that you idle the engine, you can crawl along even if it's 5 miles an hour, you take the next step. On the website, I've put some references and research regarding self-determination theory, ego depletion theory. James Clear's book Atomic Habit is very good for this. He talks about systems over motivation. The danger of indifference, again, James Clear has wrote about this in his book. You can use CBT methods, and implementation intentions are always good. If I start to feel down or if I start to lose focus, then I'm going to do this to get back on track. If then statements, you can put them in place beforehand, before the dip occurs, so that you know you can get back on track. So yeah, have a look at the article. It's on my website. I am putting more and more content on there. The way that I do it now is I do these short recordings to support the article, so you can always come back to this. This will be on YouTube, linked on there. You can find the website adamahmed.co.uk. I haven't put the programs on there at the moment because I'm just changing them. But if you do want to reach out to me, you can find me on Linktree, Adam Ahmed Coaching. There's some WhatsApp spaces here. I'm creating more spaces for different groups of people. And if you've got any questions or you've got any feedback, you can go to the comments at the bottom here. I always like reading the comments. Post a comment. It does go into a spam box, so I do have to approve it for posting. Hopefully you've got something out of this. I'm hoping you're on a motivated, driven cycle. But put your safety nets in place. It happens to everyone. It happens to me. The only difference is I recognize it and I've put things in place so I can get back out of it quickly. All right, take care, and I'll post more articles up soon.